You are listening to Right Off the Bus.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a special Thursday edition of Right Off the Bus. That's right, it's Thursday, September 9th, and we are here for episode number 37, Pat. I had to think of someone. It's Rodney Harrison, one of the greatest Patriots of all time. That's who we're rocking with this week. It's the Rodney Harrison episode because Semi Ojeleye just could not make the cut, especially now since he's playing in Milwaukee, man. But what's going on? It's Thursday. This is the first day of the NFL season, Pat, man. I could not be more excited. Let's go. We are back.
I know. We are into some obscure episode numbers. This would have been a better theme to start when we were on episode 1, because then we could have actually done like some notable players. I mean, it would have been a lot harder because there's a lot more famous number 7s than there are number 37s. So we'll have to figure that out. But it's going to get weird once it gets into the 40s. But yeah, we're on this Thursday edition. I'm sorry if my audio isn't as clear this week. I am recording on a different, without my usual mic. I'm on a different setup on my laptop, so I apologize for that, but hopefully it's still all right.
But at the end of the day, Pat, we're still going to get an episode in, and that's what it's all about, man.
Even on a Thursday.
Even on a Thursday, man. First football Thursday of the year, Bucks Cowboys tonight. I couldn't be more excited. Well, tomorrow when we're recording this, I guess. But Pat, what you got going on this week, man, before we dive into these headlines?
Not much going on, but it was funny. Like I didn't know what I was gonna talk about today. I had no stories, but then it was like 2 p.m, and my brother, he does a lot of driving with his job. He's driving around to different like territories, and he sends me a picture, and it's him and Pedro Martinez. He was at a gas station, like a rest stop just off the pike in Massachusetts, and he sent me a picture. He happened to meet Pedro Martinez. He said he shouted, he goes, "Pedro," and yeah, he said Pedro was cool. Talked to him for a couple minutes and got a picture with him. So he sent me that. I was definitely surprised. I told him to tell him he was a Yankees fan though, because I know my brother's a Yankees fan, as are the other ones. And I was like, why couldn't I, like a Red Sox fan, or at least my mom or something, meet him? I want to meet someone famous or a former athlete. But no, my brother, who's a Yankees fan, got to meet Pedro Martinez. So it was pretty cool.
We just got to frame it different, Pat. We got to know that your brother was tormented by Pedro Martinez in the AL East for years, and that's why he was the one that had to run into him. Because, man, if you put together an all-time Red Sox rotation, man, Pedro is one of those 5 pitchers, man. I'm telling you, he's not 4
definitely.
or 5. I mean, legend of the team, man. That's pretty dope. That's awesome. That's awesome.
It was pretty cool. I was like, I got up and showed people at my work. I was like, this just doesn't happen, especially in like a really random part of Massachusetts, like in Western Mass. Like you don't see anyone famous out this way. There's nobody. Like the closest we got.
Ludlow stop?
It was out in Lee. So Lee is like up near like Pittsfield. It's up
Even
in the
farther.
Berkshires, like going to the New York line, like heading towards the New York state line. So he not even just Western Mass, like as far west as you can go. So I really didn't know what Pedro was doing out here. I would love to know. I wish my brother got that far, but I'm sure Pedro was not trying to get into a conversation at a gas station.
Especially with a Yankees fan, man. That's not right.
Yeah. If he knew he was a Yankees fan, he might not have taken the picture at all.
Now, Pat, man, for me, talked about it last week, man. This triathlon is going to be 2 days away from when this episode drops on Thursday, man. And I'm excited, man. A few days away. I just got my bike fixed. It's riding better than ever before, man. And it's kind of weird. You know me, I run every day. Got to keep that run streak, but I've had to cut it to 1 mile a day. I'm just like in rest and recovery mode now. So I'm chilling out for the week, taking it easy. And I got Friday, Saturday off. So I'm headed down to Hyannis Friday night, triathlon Saturday morning, went to the gym again, pool closed again. So I'm just going to the swim without having done pretty much any swimming to prepare for it. So I really hope I don't struggle too much.
The swim's going to be the toughest part. Did you say the swim was first?
Yep. Swim, bike, run, quarter mile, 10.3 on the bike, 3.6 mile run. And I'm going to be chilling on the bike ride and the run. I got no problem with that, but that's going to be
you'll be all good there.
Struggle bus on that first 10 minutes, man, of that swim, but it'll only be 10, 12 minutes. I can struggle through a little doggy paddle, a little swim. So I should be all right, you know?
Yeah. If you can practice your breathing when you swim, if you can just keep a consistent breath, and like you're going under and then out. Like, you know, I was an angelfish back in the day at summer camp, so you know, that was decently high up the swimming list.
I love that, man. And hey, you know what? I'm not going for any speed records. I'm not going to beat anyone. You know, I'm just going out there to finish it and have a good time, push myself a little bit. So it'll be fun, and updates to come next week, man. I'll let everyone know how the triathlon goes, of course.
Yeah, I'm
But
excited for those. I certainly would not spend my Saturday morning doing a triathlon, so I applaud you.
You don't want to get up at 5:30 in the morning for a 7:30 race, man?
No chance. I'm sleeping in on the weekends these days.
Well, good news is my half marathon in Western Mass next month doesn't start till 10:30, so I got a little rest
there you go.
But
A little time to sleep in.
But Pat, let's dive into it, man. We only got a few headlines to dive in before we get a big football chunk going on this episode. Now, first, we're going to start. World Cup qualifiers have started all around the globe, man. We got headlines left and right. Erling Haaland's doing his thing. Ronaldo breaks the international goal record for men's soccer. But the U.S. men's team drops 2 games. I should say drops. They draw in their first 2 games. One against El Salvador, who we should have beat 5-0. One against Canada. I'm not as mad about Canada because Alphonso Davies burned us up the left side all game, and he's the reason they scored that goal, man. But now we're playing Honduras tonight as we're recording this, Pat. And I got to tell you, I'm not confident because we have players hurt. Weston McKennie sneaks an unauthorized visitor into their bubble and also breaks quarantine rules in another way. So our best midfielder is now headed back to Italy after breaking rules and separating from the team. And our starting right back, who plays for Barcelona, is out with an injury, Serginho Dest. Not feeling great about this, man, but it's been a rough start for the U.S. men's team. It's been ugly.
Yeah, and we did drop at least 4 points if we had won both games. I mean, realistically, we should have won those games.
Absolutely.
At the very least, we dropped, the 1 win, and then maybe the draw against Canada was justified, like you said, with Alphonso Davies. But, you say that you misspoke, but really we did drop points. We did get 2 draws, but we dropped 4 points. So I was confident going into those 2. I think we scored early in the Canada game as well, and I was feeling confident. But what are you going to do? I mean, as long as we don't not qualify, then I'm okay. I don't care how we get there, because all that matters is when we get there. But if we don't get there at all, I don't know what to say, because we have all the talent that we need to at least qualify. I think we could advance to the round of 16 too in the actual World Cup. So I know what the team is capable of.
Yeah, man, this team has more potential and more quality than any World Cup qualifying team ever. And I saw this great video. I wish I knew the guy's name so I could shout him out, but he said, "Hey man, I follow US soccer like crazy, but for everyone getting excited about how good we're going to be in the next World Cup, this starts now. This is the World Cup. Like, this is the time to start being a U.S. men's team fan." And for any listener out there, that's heard us talk about the U.S. men's team before, this is the time to hop on. Watch some of these games, get familiar with these players, man, because they should qualify. Like you said, it's going to be ugly, but as long as we get to the dance, man, this team's going to be fun. They're going to be, a great matchup for whoever they play against. And that's what I'll say on this, man. I encourage anyone to dive in now, because this is the time to become a U.S. fan, man, right now.
Yeah, and if you dive in now and they don't advance, then you can feel the collective heartbreak with the rest of us that do watch. So you get invested. Hey, you live and you die as a fan base. So we'll see.
My girlfriend's going to be so mad later tonight when I tell her we have to watch 95 minutes of U.S. Honduras, man. I can't wait.
She can keep herself occupied with other things.
She'll be scrolling on TikTok. She'll be fine, man. Next headline we got going. Tyrod Taylor named the starter in Houston, Pat. What does this mean for Deshaun Watson? He's not starting the season, but he is on the 53-man roster.
I don't know what's going to happen. Like, with their quarterback situation, I don't know what's going to happen with Watson. The fact that they have Tyrod Taylor starting is just so bad to me. I know Tyrod's not that bad. He's bounced around to a lot of teams. He's been a backup a lot of places. He was a starter at one point, but is he going to carry Houston to a positive record? No chance. I just don't know. For Deshaun Watson, I can definitely see him getting traded, but the big question is who's going to want to invest in such a guy with such a murky future. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. I really haven't heard anything on the investigations in so long, so I don't even know what's going on. I don't know what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson. I don't see him playing for Houston again. But again, it's all going to depend on what happens with his legal troubles.
Right. And yeah, man, the fact that some of them are criminal cases and some of them are civil cases makes it just so much more murky. But I will say the fact that he's on the 53-man roster makes me feel like he's either going to play or get traded this season. I don't know if it'll be for the Houston Texans, but I think he will be playing this season. And man, we obviously don't know what's going to happen, but it'll be interesting to see, man, because Houston, there's not a bright future there by any means, but at least Tyrod Taylor's starting, so Brandon Cooks has some fantasy value, man. That's the only silver lining we got here, man. Maybe
I know
Rex
people
Burkhead
picking Brandon
touches.
Cooks early. I was cringing. I was like, I don't know about that one. I'm not going anywhere near any Houston player.
And I will say too, man, remember last year for the Chargers, Tyrod Taylor had his lung punctured by like the team doctor or whatever, and that's the reason he was out for the year. So I'm at least rooting for Tyrod, man. He's a vet.
Definitely.
He's been around the league for a while, so we hope there's some level of success, but it's hard to see down in Houston, man.
Definitely, yeah. I am rooting for Tyrod. I don't know how it's going to work out, but regardless of what I said earlier, where I don't think, he can lead them to a positive record. Hey, that's nothing against Tyrod. That's, based on the entire team. I mean, there's nothing left of that team. It's pretty much bare bones. Tyrod's a good quarterback.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with you, Tyrod. This has everything to do with the team.
Yeah, we're fans.
Left in shambles.
We hope your lung is okay.
Absolutely, man. And moving on to your Ravens, Pat, man. The Ravens practice squad players are even getting hurt for the year. Running back out for the year, man. They worked out Le'Veon Bell and Devonta Freeman, man. They end up reaching a practice squad agreement with Le'Veon Bell. And of course, the expectation is that he gets bumped up to the roster whenever the date allows it, man. But Le'Veon Bell added to the Baltimore Ravens. How you feeling about that? Is that going to be sweet to watch him score in the Pittsburgh Steelers, man?
I would feel very good about that if we got Le'Veon Bell. I don't want to have to pay him much money, but having him as an RB2, I mean, that can't hurt. I tell you what, I did go with Gus Edwards based on the fact that they weren't going to be signing another running back because I didn't think another running back was going to get hurt outside of J.K. Dobbins. So if we do get Le'Veon Bell and he overtakes Gus Edwards somehow, I'm going to be really disappointed. But if those two work in tandem together, maybe like a Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt situation, obviously Le'Veon Bell would be more of the passing back. Gus Edwards doesn't catch passes, but we could have a good situation going on. I really hope that it works out. And I liked the Devonta Freeman workout as well, but just to give us more versatility, I would really like Le'Veon Bell.
Pat, Bell signed, man. He signed a practice squad deal, and he's going to get bumped up to that 53-man roster.
Wow. I didn't know. I'm so busy like during the day. I haven't had the time to check headlines. I knew he worked out. I didn't know he got signed yet. Le'Veon
Bell is a Baltimore Raven, and I cannot wait to see him score on the Pittsburgh defense, man. That is going to be just beautiful irony.
I'm excited then. All right, that's awesome. I think he's going to get a spot. I think he'll be our RB2. I don't know who else would be our RB2. I mean, if you get Le'Veon Bell and he looks good, there's no way you don't bump him up and give him a shot.
And Devonta Freeman gets cut, man. Latavius Murray gets cut by the Saints. So there's still some good running backs out there floating around looking for a job. So we'll keep an eye, especially when it comes to fantasy value on some of those guys when they get signed. But sticking with the Ravens real quick, how you feeling about that Mark Andrews extension, man? What was it? 4 years, 56, 4 years, 54, something like that?
He deserved to get paid. I'm very happy. We're locking up Mark Andrews. We're going to lock up Lamar. We're going to lock up all the big guys. I'm very excited that we're paying out the money.
Yeah, man, without a doubt.
And the Steelers could learn something too, because they haven't paid TJ Watt yet. And TJ Watt is kind of holding out on him. So we're approaching week 1 and TJ Watt still hasn't been paid. So I think the Steelers should just pay that man as well. Just as a side note, they could learn from the Ravens.
Could you imagine not paying the second best defensive player in the NFL, let alone the best pass rusher in the NFL, not counting Aaron Donald?
Yeah, and you could have given him Defensive Player of the Year last year. You could have justified giving him Defensive Player of the Year. So the number 1 or number 2 defensive player in the league, and you're hesitant to pay him. I don't understand that.
This is like how Mbappe with PSG is going to walk and sign with Madrid on a free, man. I don't know how you let this happen, man. You have to pay TJ Watt. You have to sign these young superstars and give them all the money they want, man. You have no other option. And Pat, man, moving on. Paul Pierce speaks out. First time since leaving ESPN, man. I thought this was absolutely fantastic. He said ESPN's not the best company to work for, man. He said you're forced to talk about LeBron all the time, which is the most clickbaity headline he possibly could have given us.
I love that
he did.
The truth. They call him the truth for a reason because he speaks the truth. And I tell you what, there's never been a truer statement than that. They definitely no, like when they're coming up with content, they are probably 40% of the time trying to find a way where they can facilitate LeBron into the conversation.
Oh, without a doubt, man. I thought some of the stuff he said was interesting too, that the Basketball Hall of Fame, like Jerry Colangelo was saying, like, hey, we'd love for you to put out a statement, apologize for this before like you get inducted because this was crazy. And Paul's in this interview saying, I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything illegal. This has nothing to do with basketball. And he said, guess what? NBA players that are in the Hall of Fame have freaking insurance fraud. They do cocaine all the time. And I was just partying, having a good time. I didn't do anything wrong, man. And I think it was like a great tell-all, man. Like you said, he's the truth. And it's nice to have like an athlete at this level actually be honest with us. You know, like this doesn't happen.
Dennis Rodman has his own locker at the NBA Hall of Fame, and we all know what that guy did. That guy was off the walls at one point during his NBA career. And I mean, now he was friends with like Kim Jong-un and all. You know, he's had all sorts of controversy. So Paul Pierce, just for going on Instagram Live with, you know, some drinks and some strippers, that is worse than what Dennis Rodman did. And Dennis Rodman has his own locker for the worm. You know, it's unbelievable.
I love it, man. I'm glad Paul spoke out. And
we love Pierce.
We absolutely do. Keep doing your thing, truth, man. And last thing I want to bring up during these headlines, Pat, I got to pull it up on Twitter real quick, man. But J.R. Smith, man, we gave the update that he was going to North Carolina A&T to play some golf, man. And I got to tell you, this guy has been one of the best follows on Twitter since he got to North Carolina A&T. I think it's absolutely fantastic, man. He's talking about the quizzes he's taking. He's talking about how the history textbooks are wrong. He's doing a literacy course for the first time ever. He's learning new words, man.
Yeah.
And just this tweet. Go ahead.
It's been funny. It's been funny to follow. And I do like that he was having so much trouble with syllabus week, because syllabus week is the week, like the first week of college is when everyone does nothing. And then everyone just hands out syllabus or syllabi, and there's barely any work to do. And JR was struggling. I don't know what was going on, but syllabus week usually wait till he gets to midterms is my only input.
You can be 35 and have 50 million in the bank, man, and you still struggle with silly week, dude. It is funny. And dude, just read this tweet, man. Had my first golf team practice yesterday. The experience is amazing. Can't wait for the opportunity to put our skills together as a team. So many great teammates with so many great tips. Learning so much from these dudes, man. So happy, having a great time. And just scrolling down, man, he's tweeting about taking a test for the first time, man. He said, I'm so happy about this quiz, man. These joint having me stressed the fuck out for real, man. I played in front of 20K for a long time, but I can't even take a quiz by myself, dude. Like, this dude is being so honest. And it's like Paul Pierce, man. It's like, this is a perspective you would never get on college, man. And as like, we're recent graduates in the last year, right, man? And this is just so funny to listen to. If you're not following him, check out the real J.R. Smith on Twitter, dude. It is gold. Absolute gold.
It's just certainly not every day you get a guy who's played in the NBA finals and for multiple NBA teams, including LeBron. And he's now, you know, on your golf team, and he's giving us social media updates on his college life. It's just one of the most unique situations I've ever seen.
He got a 71 out of 75 on his quiz, and he tweeted about his tutor. I should have pulled up the name, but he was like, you don't miss whatever, like you did this. And it was like a pointing gif. And he was like, I appreciate you.
Gonna
like,
be pumped, yeah.
The tutor's about to get a nice tip from J.R. Smith, man. I can feel it, especially NIL rules, man. You can tip the tutor now, hopefully, right?
I hope so. Hey, if JR can afford it, he can do it.
All right, Pat, moving on. Big episode is going to be football, so we're going to get into it. But first, before we get into some pick 'em for the week, man, talk about some of these games, let's talk about our fantasy draft that you and I are both part of. A bunch of the roommates from college, some other friends, man. Thought it'd be fun just to go through, kind of rank and talk about some of these teams, man, and kind of go through who had the best team, Pat. I don't know if there's any specific team you want to start with on this little conversation here.
I don't know. My team's looking pretty good considering I picked 8th. I will take that. But God, I don't know. Like, looking at, do you have one off the top? Because I'm just trying to look through and see exactly who had the best team, because I really don't know.
Well, Pat, I hate to do it, man, but I genuinely do believe I have the best team. I genuinely do.
You did pick first.
I had the
Chandler picks
first pick in
first.
the draft, so I got lucky, man. ESPN may have ranked me as the top team post draft. I am not gonna lie, but I gotta
They
say,
did for
man,
projected standings. You're projected to finish first.
Joe Braverman, you're not going to be happy with this, but I got Justin Herbert at QB. I think it's going to be great. This is a 10-team PPR, and I rushed the quarterback pick, Pat. It went Mahomes, Rodgers, Russ. They flew off the board. I was like, I got to pick one, but I got McCaffrey at running back, David Montgomery, and I got Justin Jefferson and Julio Jones at wide receiver. I feel like if Julio has a decent year, then if he plays at 75% of what he can, I think he's a decent wide receiver too. I got Kittle at tight end, man. He was my third pick or second pick, man. Myles Gaskin. I got your Ravens defense, man. I'm feeling good about this team. And I'm playing a team that got Rodgers, Dalvin Cook, Chris Godwin, Calvin Ridley, and Shane's team, defending champ. I cannot wait to take down the champ in week 1, man. That's all I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I'm trying to look through the teams, and everyone's got names that I don't even know who actually has this team. Like, who is Joe Mama? I have no idea, but they're projected to finish second. Chandler, you actually got moved down. You're projected to finish third now.
That's Matt Robles, man.
ESPN with the live updates. So yeah, our roommate Matt, he might have the best team. His team is very, very good.
Mahomes, Zeke, Josh Jacobs, D Hop, Allen Robinson, Logan Thomas, Brandon Cook. Juju on the bench, man. I think Zeke's always a little overrated, man. And Logan Thomas, I'm really interested to see what his value is this year. I wouldn't
go with Zeke. After what he did to me last year, I would never go with Zeke again. Just with Dak getting hurt, it was a whole problem in fantasy. If you play fantasy, Zeke getting hurt was just the downfall of my entire season. I'm sure a lot of people. And I don't trust the Cowboys anymore. I don't trust Zeke.
Not even a little, man. And Matt, Joe Mama over here is playing Punch this week, man. Punch got Josh Allen, man. And I think Josh Allen's really underrated because he was projected the most points out of any single player in fantasy football on ESPN this year. You pair that with Aaron Jones hammering it up the middle. Tyreek Hill is obviously a monster, dude. Mark Andrews at tight end, got Devonta Smith on the bench. I actually really like Punch's team, man, even though it felt like he was auto drafting a little bit. I obviously don't know if he was, man. I wasn't paying attention to all that, but
if he did auto draft, he's projected to finish first. So he, auto draft did him some good favors if he did. But his team's very good. Josh Allen, Aaron Jones, Miles Sanders, Tyreek Hill, Deontay Johnson, Mark Andrews, DeAndre Swift. That's a very good team. Good bench players too.
Yeah, man. Devontae Smith is sneaky on there, man. Now, I got to tell you, Carter, I don't love your team, man. I really don't. Brady's going to have a great year. Chubb is going to split more snaps than he did last year with Kareem Hunt since Hunt has a suspension. Man, CeeDee Lamb, I think, is overrated. I think Amari Cooper's still the number one. I still think Michael Gallup is the red zone threat there. Keenan Allen's great, man, but I don't trust Cooper Kupp. I don't trust Antonio Gibson, man. I don't trust Carter's team. I don't trust Brett's team either, man. It looks great. You see Kamara, you see DK, you see Mike Evans. But, man, I don't trust Matt Stafford. I thought they way overpaid for him. You gave up a 24-year-old quarterback that got you to a Super Bowl for Matt Stafford along with 2 first-round picks, man. A lot of these teams I feel a little iffy about. We're all projected like 118 to 120 points.
Yeah, it's close, yeah. I was just about to say too, I do like Brett's team. Stafford, QB situation, whatever. But if he picked Stafford late, I mean, you can always stream a quarterback.
That's true.
There's always quarterbacks that end up being they just come out of nowhere and end up scoring a lot of points in fantasy. So we could go with that. The weakest point of the team is the RB2, Javonte Williams. That's by far the weakest part of the team. QB, he can stream. I wouldn't be worried about that. But outside of Javonte Williams, I mean, if he can figure out the RB2 situation, he's got Thielen, he's got Darren Waller, Mike Evans, DK Metcalf, Kamara. He's got a very good team.
Thielen as a flex is a legit flex, man. I mean, as your third wide receiver.
3 top tier receivers, but he sacrificed that for the RB2 is what you can tell. So it really is just going to depend.
I think our boy John Marchetti too, man. Kyler Murray, Derrick Henry, Najee Harris, I think is going to have a massive, massive year. AJ Brown, Amari Cooper, Jonnu Smith. I think that's solid from top to bottom. And you have Derrick Henry and Najee Harris. You got Kareem Hunt on the bench, John. I think that is super solid. I think Jerry Jeudy's and DJ Chark could have big years off the bench too, man. And this is what happens in a 10-team league. You have just solid players all around, man, which is interesting. And I will say too, Bishop Sycamore I think Nick Lachey may have the best team name in the league, man. Some of them are pretty simple, but I think this one may take it. My man, it looks like he auto drafted. The last pick of the draft for him was Jameis Winston, man. Like, Latch,
Honestly,
what are you doing, buddy?
it's funny that he waited all the way to the end to get a quarterback, but it was Jameis. Like having Jameis as your quarterback is not bad.
Not the
Especially
worst.
he's coming into New Orleans. I know he doesn't have Mike Thomas, but he's going to be slinging the ball. And hey, if they're a bad team, that just means they're going to be playing from behind. And if he throws for 40 or 4,500 yards to 5,000 yards, which he potentially could this season, that equates to a lot of points in fantasy. And yeah, they're going to be slinging the ball. I could see him having a great link up with Kamara. I think he's going to get a lot of passing touchdowns. So regardless of picks, I know those are -2 points in our league. I think he'll be fine. I don't mind the quarterback pick all the way at the end because he's got good position players. I mean, Dallas Goedert's his backup tight end, and Dallas Goedert's probably the starter in Philly.
It's not bad, man. I don't even want to talk about Garrett's team because I don't trust anything going on there, man. I don't know. Tyler Lockett questionable. Noah Fant as your tight end. T. Higgins in your flex. I don't trust it. He also drafted a kicker way too early. He took Young Hoku, man. I don't trust it. But Pat, that's who you're playing in week 1. I'm looking at your team, man. You have some just sneaky players, man. Like Gus Edwards and Terry McLaurin are going to outperform every expectation this year. And
that's what I'm hoping.
You got Travis Kelce and Kyle Pitts, who are going to be 2 of the top 6 or 7 tight ends in the league, man. That's scary. And you got Michael Thomas sitting there waiting for week 6, dude. You're going to plug him in. You're going to plug him in for Kenny Golladay. You're going to plug Jalen Waddle, and you're not going to have any issue there, man. I genuinely like our teams as 2 of these top maybe 3 or 4 teams in this league, and it's not just because we're here talking about it.
Not just because we're biased talking about it. That's for real.
I think we got some seriously solid teams, man, there. I'm looking forward to it, man. And, we'll keep the people updated as the year goes on this fantasy league, man. Of course, especially in those matchups between you and I, that'll be fun to talk about, man.
Yeah, I got to see when we meet up, actually. I don't know. I haven't even looked at the schedule yet. Like I said last week, I get 3 leagues here, so I'm kind of discombobulated. I don't even I haven't really looked at everything yet, but I got to figure out
a little all over the place.
Yeah, I got to figure out when I'm going to play you. That's going to take me too long right now on air.
Week 4, baby. Week 4.
Oh, week 4? All right, that'll be
matching
good.
up.
Week 1 will be this week. I don't know what that episode 41 probably will be able to talk about that.
Man, Bill Belichick versus Tom Brady, Pat Mahoney versus Chandler Hutchison. It's going to be a big week in the NFL, man. It really is. We got some big games coming up, Pat.
All right, yeah, it'll be fun for sure.
All right, Pat, man, we got to get on to the real football.
Some real football.
Yeah, man. And, we started this podcast partway through the NFL season last year, so we didn't want to do pick'ems for the full season. But this year we're going to run through the schedule each week and pick these games, talk about them briefly, man. And we're not doing, pick an upset for the week, pick a lock for the week, pick this, that, the other thing. We're just going to go through these, talk about the games real quick, man. And starting off the first game, Cowboys Bucks, Pat, how we feeling about Tampa Bay starting the season, defending the ring, man?
Considering the state of the Cowboys right now and Dak, who we don't know what's going on with him. I don't know how healthy he really is. I mean, I'm going to take the defending Super Bowl champs at home. It's got to be the Bucks for me. It's got to be.
I'm with you, man. And do we even know if Dak's playing in game 1? Has that been decided yet?
I truly don't know.
I don't either, man. And we may just be sounding misinformed, but we got to go.
But it doesn't inform my decision because if he plays or if he doesn't play, it's a Bucks dub either way.
And this feels like there's not going to be a championship hangover with this team, man. It feels like Tampa Bay is going to come out firing. They have one of the easier schedules in the league, and they have a division that they should absolutely dominate. I think Tampa Bay is going to win all season, man. And I obviously have Tampa Bay too, man. I think Tom Brady is going to come out firing, and there's always rumors going around every year, but there's coaches on the Bucks staff saying that they think Brady's in for a career year. And when you think about a guy that's thrown 50 touchdowns in a season and 5,000 yards, saying that he's going to have a career year at age 43, you get a little worried, man. So I got to go Tampa Bay all day there as well, obviously.
Yeah, and anytime Brady says anything, I believe it at this point. I mean, he's done nothing to prove us wrong, or done nothing to go against that in his entire career. So I'll take his word for it.
Dude wins a Super Bowl every 3 years of his career, man, and he's 7-3 in Super Bowls. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely
Yeah,
ridiculous.
that's a nice record.
Yeah, man. All right. Jaguars at Texans to start the year, man, in that AFC South. It's like I have no faith in either of these teams, Pat, but guess what? I'm gonna roll with Jacksonville, baby.
Yeah, I am as well. I don't think in any of these pick'ems I will be picking the Texans, because Texans versus Jags in Houston seems like the most likely pick where we might take the Texans, and I'm not taking the Texans.
Yeah, that does not give them a good outlook for the rest of the season, man. But I'm with you there. I think Trevor Lawrence probably comes out and fires, man. But I saw a tweet today. It said, without looking, can you name more than 2 players on the Houston Texans roster? And I was like, Tyrod Taylor, Rex Burkhead, and Brandon Cooks are the only 3 I can name, and one of them's because they left the Patriots to sign there this year. That's the only reason I knew.
That was PFT. I saw that tweet.
Is that what?
Yeah, it was PFT. Yep. And I honestly thought about it, and I had to cheat and look at the comments because I only do Mike Davis, and I was trying to think about who else they have because they just added Mike Davis. That was the only reason I knew. I was trying to think, and then I didn't. I was blanking on Tyrod Taylor, but yeah, I cheated.
Dude, I looked at the comments afterwards too, and I saw people were like, Brian Cushing, Mario Williams, JJ Watt, DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I'm like you. Oh yeah. All the people that are gone.
It's tough, man.
That they've just gotten rid of.
It's ugly there, man. And third matchup of the week, the Los Angeles Chargers at Washington, man. I think this is going to be a really great and underrated game to start the year. I think both of these teams are poised for big years, Pat. Who you got in this game?
I tell you what, I do like the Chargers. I liked them in our picks a couple weeks ago with the head coach. So I'm not going to stray from that now. I said the head coach was a possible coach of the year front runner. I'm going to go with the Chargers in this one. I almost went with Washington, but I almost said their former name. But I almost went with Washington just because I like Washington at home. I think that, like you said, I mean, it's going to be an underrated game. I think they're sneaky good, and the Chargers better not underestimate them, but I don't think they will. And I'll take the Chargers in week 1.
I'm gonna go the opposite way, Pat. I'm gonna rock with Fitzmagic in game 1. I'm looking for some absolute electricity, no pun intended, playing against the Chargers, man. Looking for some electricity out of Ryan Fitzpatrick, man. I think he has something to prove. This team was 7-9 last year with the 32nd ranked quarterback playing the league, and not Fitzpatrick's an upgrade, man. And Terry McLaurin's going to have a big first week for you. I think that this Washington football team has the best defensive line in football. And yeah, I think that you're going to see the Chargers struggle a little bit to start the year, a little sophomore slump game 1 from Justin Herbert, as much as I don't want that to happen. But I think this defensive line is going to give the Chargers attack some serious issues, man. I really
and then you throw Antonio Gibson in there, and then their tight end, is it Logan Thomas?
Yep.
Yeah. They have a great offense, solid defense as well. They're going to be a good team. They're going to be good in that NFC East.
I think this is a classic Chargers game from last year, though. I think they lose by 1 score. I think they lose by 6-7 points or less because that's how they lost every game last year.
I could see it.
Close game. I'm going with the Washington football team, though. Next game, Pat, we got Seahawks at Colts, man. This is an interesting game. This is interesting. Who do you got winning this game?
Looking at it, I don't know if Carson Wentz is playing. I know he had COVID protocols. I hope he's going to be back. If Carson's back, I'm taking the Colts. I'll take the Colts at home. I like it. I'll take the Colts in this one.
I'm going to go opposite again, man. I'm going Seattle. I think Russ always has something to prove in week 1, especially if Wentz isn't playing, and that's factoring into my decision for sure. I think Russ is going to come out explosive offense to start. They just paid his left tackle, Dwayne Brown, what he deserves to be paid finally right before the season starts. And, Russ is always out to prove something, man. Obviously, every other player on the field is too, but, Russ is just that electric. He can put his team on his back. And I think week 1, I think this is a team on my back game from Russ, man. I really do. So I'm a rock with Seattle there.
I like it.
And then Jets Panthers, man. Jets at Carolina, dude. I can't believe I'm saying it. I'm going Jets starting off the season with a win. There's way too much hype coming out of New York right now around Zach Wilson, but I don't trust what the Panthers do, man. I think McCaffrey gets his, but I don't trust Sam Darnold out there, man. I don't trust the defense in Carolina. I don't trust Matt Rule as an NFL head coach quite yet. And I love Robert Salah and what he's building with this team in New York, man. I think the Jets could come out and surprise people and get, a close week 1 win. I think this game is something like 21-17. It's going to be close and not too many points, I don't think.
Panthers at home. Sam Darnold coming in against his former team. I think he'll have something to prove. DJ Moore, I mean, he's a great piece. McCaffrey, like you said, is going to get his. He's coming back. I'll take the Panthers in this one. They're not the greatest team. Obviously, I don't think they're going to have too much success this year. But against the Jets and at home, I'll take the Panthers.
I didn't even think of the whole Darnold playing against the Jets, man. Dude, that's definitely a big storyline there. But these are probably 2 6-11 teams at the end of the day. So it's definitely a toss up there. And man, Vikings at Bengals, man. What you thinking there?
I'll take Vikings here. I think, although I don't trust Kirk, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, they got good weapons. Dalvin Cook, obviously. I think it's just going to be too much. Their defense is solid. The Bengals just don't have – I mean, they're a young team. It's going to take them time to develop this year. Joe Burrow's coming back off that injury. We don't even know how he's going to be. So I'll take the Vikings in this one just because I'm very uncertain about the Bengals for now. It's going to take them the year to develop.
I don't even have anything to say. I echo every sentiment you just said, and that's why I'm going Vikings, man. Don't know what's going on in Cincinnati, and there's a lot left to build there. So we'll go with the 3-headed monster of Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, and Adam Thielen. Notice how I didn't say 4 because I don't trust a single thing about Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, but the QB situation can improve, but he's got the weapons to do it.
What I think may be the most underrated game of the week, Pat. Another 1:00 game, Cardinals at Titans, dude. I think this could be a fantastic game to watch. I can't wait to have this on, man. What do you think?
I'm excited for
Arizona, Tennessee?
I'm going Arizona. Regardless of being on the road, I think I like what the Cardinals are building. Kyler Murray, I think he's going to come in, be a playmaker. I mean, you got D-Hop, you added AJ Green, JJ Watt's there. I mean, it's a real team. They got Chase Edmonds, James Conner. They have a lot of pieces, and coming in the Titans, I know they just got Julio, but realistically, that's it. They got rid of Corey Davis. They brought in Julio Jones. I do like Tannehill, and I really like the Titans this year, but hey, my kind of rival now, the Ravens, I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
Man, I picked the Cardinals to win their division, but I'm going to go with Tennessee at home to start the year. I think it's going to be rocking, man. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a close win, but I think, with all this hype around Tennessee, I got to rock with my man, Mike Vrabel, just for week 1. I think it's going to take.
I like it. Rocking with Braves. I like it.
That's my guy, man. AJ Green, first game with the team. JJ, first game with the team. Those guys are vets. Those guys are pros. But Kyler's going to have to figure some things out. You don't have Larry Fitzgerald on the sideline for the first time in like 45 years, man. It feels like he's been there forever. But I'm a rock with Tennessee in game 1. Start the season off strong, man. And people think Tennessee. Do people think Tennessee's a legit Super Bowl contender? I'm not quite there, but I'm going with Tennessee week 1.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Super Bowl contender, but certainly playoff contender. So yeah, they'll be very competitive this year.
Listen, I get you're picking against them. Baltimore Ravens, Tennessee Titans. A little hate there. I get it. I do get it.
And I like the Cardinals. I like the hey, my fellow Bird gang.
Bird gang out here, man. Now 49ers Lions, Pat. I'm going Niners all day. Doesn't matter if it's Garoppolo. Doesn't matter if it's
weird
Lance.
Game.
Yeah, not a fun game to watch. Not looking forward to really anything about it except a good win from the Niners.
I mean, it's a new head coach, right? New quarterback and Jared Goff. They lost Galladay. They lost Galladay was gone, but they lost Marvin Jones. Oh no, they did lose Galladay as well. Yeah, Galladay,
both of them.
Marvin Jones. It's Tyrod Williams who's coming off his injury. He barely played for the Steelers last year. So we got Tyrod Williams and TJ Hawkinson, DeAndre Swift. So they do have some decent pieces, but not nearly enough. Goff's coming in. I don't know how that's going to be. Detroit's never been, obviously back to like Megatron. But besides that, I mean, they've never really been a great offensive team. Stafford slings the ball, and he is a good quarterback, but he was too inconsistent. He didn't have enough pieces with him. So that being said, I'll go with the 49ers as well.
Yeah, nothing else to say there, man. Pittsburgh at Buffalo. Oh man, I love that Bills Mafia get a home game to start the
And this
year.
is a
And
great
I'm
game.
so it is, man. And I'm so glad I get to watch Pittsburgh lose their opening game, man. I hate the Steelers, man. They're not even my division rival like they are yours, but there's no part of me that wants to see Big Ben have any success, man. So I'm rocking with Bills Mafia. I can't wait to see some tables get just absolutely destroyed at the tailgate before the game. Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. Book it. Buffalo Bills.
It's funny because obviously I'm a Ravens fan, but I can't like hate the Steelers because my uncle Danny is a big Steelers fan, like huge Steelers fan, and he has been since obviously before I was born and before I was a Ravens fan. So just for the sake of him, I can't hate on the Steelers too much, even though I definitely don't want them to beat the Ravens. I mean, if they do worse than the Ravens, I'm happy with that. I would root for them here, just for my uncle's sake, but I'm definitely going to go with the Bills at home. I don't think there's any way they lose unless
That's
Cole
the
Beasley infects the entire team with COVID.
Yeah, man, that COVID list could start piling up in Buffalo, man. I hate to say it, I'm not happy about it for the Dolphins, man, but the Dolphins are missing 2 starters now with the COVID list, so I'm happy for the Patriots, man. But we'll get to that game in a little bit, man. We got Eagles at Falcons. The Bird gang continues, man. Bird on bird crime here. Who's winning it, man?
I'm going Eagles. Again, my brother's an Eagles fan. Two of my brothers actually are Eagles fans. So I'm going to root for the Eagles here. I am also just going to pick them as well because I don't trust the Falcons yet. I don't trust their defense. I know they have Kyle Pitts and Calvin Ridley is more defined in his wide receiver one role. Russell Gage is a good wide receiver too. They do have some pieces. I think I say that a lot. These these like teams are kind of on the cusp of like being
Yeah.
okay. They do have pieces, but just it's the rest of the team that fills in that isn't good. I will take the Eagles here. I think Jalen Hurts is going to have some good leadership. He's going to come out week one. I hope Devontae Smith can have a breakout game right in week one. And Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, hopefully. I know Zach Ertz is kind of on the outs, but if they could figure out like a 2 tight end system with those two, they could be deadly. And for that, with Miles Sanders as well, just thrown in there, I'll go with the Eagles.
Yeah, man. My thing is, I don't trust either of these defenses at all, but I trust the Atlanta offense more than I trust the Philly offense right now. I haven't seen enough from Jalen Hurts yet. There's a lot left to figure out on that offense, that offensive line. So I'm going to go with Atlanta just for the fact that it's week one. Matt Ryan's been here before. Calvin Ridley is a star. I genuinely believe that. Kyle Pitts, I think, is going to have a big week one. And of course, you got him in fantasy. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm going to go Atlanta, week one, just because they got some more vets than Philly does. And I like the direction they're heading in more than I like the direction that Philly's heading in right now. I don't trust Philly at all.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. I like that we
Now,
got the different picks though.
yeah, man. Now maybe the game of the week, man. First
They're
425 game.
treating us week one. I mean, this is unbelievable.
Oh, dude, look at these two smiles, man. How happy
I'm
are we that
cheesing. Yeah,
NFL's back?
I'm so pumped for Sunday. It's unbelievable. Red zone. I mean, beers, red zone. What more can you ask for?
I haven't seen you smile this much since we talked to Pat Ricard, man. I swear.
Yeah. I mean, I smile a lot every week, but I'm definitely pumped that it's football season.
Now, we haven't even mentioned the matchup that we're talking about yet, Pat. Browns at Chiefs at Arrowhead, man. That place is going to be crazy, dude. Maybe the two best teams in the AFC, man. Who you got in this game?
I gotta go Chiefs right at home. I know the Browns are really good. I mean, they've literally put it all together. They have the team that is capable of making a Super Bowl run at this point. I know people hate on Baker. I really like Baker, and I think he has the capability to take them to that place and take them where they want to go. OBJ is coming back. There's a lot of good things to say about the Browns, but Chiefs at home, Pat Mahomes, the link up with Kelsey, Tyreek Hill. I mean, they got McCole Hardman out there. It's just too much. I'm definitely rocking with the Chiefs.
I'm going the same way, man. I think this is going to be a high scoring affair. I don't know how much defense is going to be played in this game at the end of the day. I think you're going to see a lot of big plays. I think between these two teams, we could see like maybe 4 or 5, like 40, 50-yard plays. These are two explosive offenses. And I said it a couple weeks ago with Joe Braverman. I'm picking Mahomes for MVP because Orlando Brown is now his new left tackle and Joe Tooney is now his new left guard. You get this man protection. He's hard to beat. He's the $500 million man, dude. And I gotta go with Chiefs because of that. And they're playing at home. Arrowhead is a hard place to play, man. That is a very tough environment to play in.
It is. Yeah, it's Chiefs for both of us.
I like it, man. Now we got the Pack at New Orleans, but it sounds funny, Pat. It's not in New Orleans. They're playing at the Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium in week 1. They don't have a home because of just Hurricane Ida, the terrible disasters that have been going on in the southern part of this country. They don't know where they're going to be playing each week, but week 1 is at the Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium, man. And obviously, I think the Packers are the better team here, but the Packers are used to going to play there. The Saints are not going to have home fans in the stadium. They'll have a few, maybe a couple thousand make the trip, but man, this is not a home game. It's very unfair to the Saints. But even if they were playing in New Orleans at Mercedes-Benz Superdome, I would be picking the Packers in this game. One last dance, man. Rodgers, Adams, going to be a big year. I'm excited to see the Pack play. I'm going Packers all day here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're not at their home stadium. My MVP pick is quarterbacking the other team. I'm definitely going with the Packers.
Denver at the Giants. Teddy Bridgewater starting the year for the Denver Broncos, man. They get a couple of their receivers back, guys like Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. You draft Patrick Surtain on defense. The Broncos are trending in the right direction, I think. And the New York Giants, you get Saquon back, man. What are you thinking for this matchup?
Yeah, Saquon coming back. This is a tough one. I think in a situation like this, these two teams are very even. I'm gonna go with the Giants just because they're playing at home with their fans. Again, there's not much separating these two teams. I know the Broncos do have. It's all right with Teddy Bridgewater. I feel bad for Drew Lock, but Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, they're great receivers. I think in this case, I'll just go with the home team and I'll take the Giants.
Yeah, man, this is honestly a toss-up for me. I could flip a coin to decide this one because I really don't know. But remember how much hype there was around this Denver Broncos team when Aaron Rodgers, all the trade talk was going on. Everyone's like, oh my God, if the Broncos get this guy, they're winning the Super Bowl. Like they have the defense, they have the offense, like they have the pieces, man. And I didn't get it at the time, but man, you look at some of the pieces they're getting back. Von Miller didn't play last year. Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy missed most of the season. I'm going to go with Denver. Teddy Bridgewater's solid. And even just an okay Teddy Bridgewater, I think is as good as Daniel Jones. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Denver. I think it's a better overall roster. And you don't know what Saquon's going to look like, man. You really don't. I don't know if I can count on this guy to go out there and put 100 yards and a touchdown up because he played 2 quarters of football last year. I don't know what we're getting from Saquon, so I'm going Denver in this game.
Hopefully we're getting a lot for the sake of my other fantasy team. Because, he's my starting running back, so I hope he plays well.
Pat, Miami at New England, man. I'll let you start this one off because if I do remember correctly, some certain podcast co-host of mine picked Miami to finish second in the AFC East. So
I did.
I'll let you go first.
I tell you what, Miami always struggles in New England, but the cold weather has not hit yet, and I think that's usually the issue. I'm going to take Miami. You're right. I'm going to stick to my guns. I was thinking about it. I was like, I feel like Mac Jones could pull off a win here. I think Bill's going to have some great coaching on display, but I got to stick with my guns, and I think I'm going to go with who you mentioned, Tua didn't even get selected captain. It really is going to depend on Tua's play, but I tell you what, 2 uncertain quarterbacks, Mac Jones and Tua, I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. I think it's going to be a tight game, but I think
I also knew you would pick the Patriots, so.
Right. I have to, man. And I think it's because it's one of those like 55-45 matchups, man. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Belichick outcoaches in this situation. I think it's going to take some time for the fluidity to get there for the Patriots offense, but I think in terms of defense, I think this defense is going to be ready to go. You have so many vets on this New England defense. You get Donta Hightower back, Lawrence Guy still locking down the D-line, and we got Matt Judon, who's going to be our best pass rusher since Chandler Jones. Thankful for the Ravens for not paying their great linebackers, man. For some reason, they just let C.J. Mosley and Matt Judon walk. I don't get it. But
2 of my big regrets with the Ravens, but we'll breeze by that.
I think both offenses are going to struggle a little bit, but I think that there's going to be a lot of run game on both ends. But I think the Pats defense and the coaching is going to carry them to a win in this game. I don't think it's going to be a big win. I think it's something like 24-17, 24-20. But you see this report, man, Mac Jones has his girlfriend out in the backyard doing walkthroughs of the playbook with him, man. My man's preparing. So I'm hoping Mac Jones shows out. I'm gonna go New England in the first game. I feel like I have to, I got no other
and I
option.
knew you were gonna do it, so I went with the Dolphins, for my own reasons, but also that reason.
Well, in 2 picks, you better not pick the Raiders over your Ravens.
Yeah,
but we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, you already know what it is.
Bears at Rams, man. Andy Dalton. Do we trust Andy, Pat? Do we?
No, I tell you what, but I do have faith in Matt Stafford going to LA. Sean McVay said he's learning a lot from Matt Stafford, which I like to hear in the head coach. He's still a student of the game. He's still going to learn. I think Stafford actually does have a lot to offer that. And I'm excited about it. I think the Rams have big potential in that division. I mean, it's a stacked division as we've talked about, but I'm going to go with the Rams in this matchup.
I like it, man. I'm with you. Same reasons. I don't trust anything, 10 foot within a 10-foot radius of Andy Dalton. I really don't, man. I mean, to the fact Justin Fields isn't starting, I don't want to hear the don't let Aaron Donald eat him alive argument. What, is he not going to get hit when he plays? Is he not going to go against top defensive players? You're just going to put Andy Dalton in? No, they didn't start the best quarterback on their roster. They don't have the best skill positions, man. I'm going with the Rams as well. I think they have a lot more pieces, and Stafford's solid, man. I see him as a B+ quarterback, and I think that's plenty to beat this Bears team in week 1.
Stafford's got good stats, not a great win-loss record, but he's got good stats over the course of his career. He's an underrated quarterback.
The Lions have never done him justice. I definitely agree with you there.
There's just never been anything for him.
Nah, man, not at all. Baltimore at Las Vegas to start, man. Your Ravens are on the road, but I'm going to just say I'm picking the Ravens right now, but I'll let you take this one.
Yeah. Regardless, the Ravens are traveling, going to the Death Star in Las Vegas. That stadium should be affectionately named because it looks ridiculous. If you saw, I don't remember if it was the owner, someone involved in the Steelers organization is building
Mark
their
Davis,
house.
The owner.
Mark Davis, yeah, which you see the look of that guy, and you're like, all right, this makes a lot of sense. It literally looks like a spaceship that's Steeler themed. I mean, the guy lives and breathes football. He lives and breathes Steelers. So I have a lot of respect for him. I love it. I mean, it takes some dedication to make your house look like that, but you know what it is. I mean, I'm taking the Ravens. Obviously, I think Lamar is going to show out. It's just that time. I mean, it's the year we got to show out this year. Gus Edwards, RB1, hopefully Le'Veon Bell. That would be cool if we got to see something out of him. Hopefully he's been keeping his game sharp. He's been working out, because if he can catch some balls in the backfield, that's going to be huge. And it opens up the field for Lamar, because if they don't know if we're going to pitch it to Le'Veon or hand it off to Gus Edwards, or if Lamar is going to take off, that just gives us options, and I love it.
Le'Veon hasn't had the chance of playing a read option offense in a long time, and I think he's going to be very happy next to Lamar Jackson.
It could be huge. It's a run-heavy offense. It's exactly what he's always wanted, minus, the huge payday.
Now, Pat, before we get on to listener questions, man, 16 games, eight games that we chose different in, man. We picked 8 games the same, 8 games different. So I'm looking forward to seeing, how that pans out next week. We'll keep a running count on who's picking the games better. It'll be fun to talk about that next week, man. And I'm just so darn excited that the football season's back, man. Let's go.
Let's see how we stack up against those so-called NFL analysts. They are good. A lot of them do get good records, but Mike Ditka and Chris Berman and all those guys on like Sunday mornings, I like when they make their picks. Then I look at their records at the end of the year. Someone's like under 500, like by a landslide. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing at that desk?
And they get paid the big bucks, man. It's just not right.
Must be
it's just
nice.
not
But
right.
I do love those guys. They always put on good shows.
Without a doubt, man. Now, we are so excited to be talking NFL. We get to talk NFL for the next like 5-6 months, man. This is beautiful, but we got to get into some listener questions before we wrap up this show. So, Pat, first one, obviously a little directed towards me here, but Brett submitted this, who's running this triathlon with me. He said, are you ready for this bleeping triathlon? We got to keep it family friendly over here, that NSFW tag. But man, I am so ready for this triathlon. I can't wait to get through it, man. But I'm not going to talk about it anymore, because we're going to talk about it next week, man. I'm definitely looking forward to that. But Brett with another question. Are there any NFL players that you think are just going to absolutely shock the league this year, Pat? You think anyone's going to come out and just absolutely dominate, or not even dominate, but a player that's going to take a huge leap, man?
God, that's a good question. Well, I tell you what, I could, you know what, as RB1, I think Gus Edwards could. He's a guy he's really flown under the radar. And we went from Mark Ingram and then to drafting J.K. Dobbins, but Gus Edwards has been there the entire time, and he's been this guy that we've just had as like a backup RB. And now that he's in an RB1 position, I'm excited to see what he can do, especially behind Lamar. And I think there's just gonna be so many opportunities for him, good volume. So I think Gus Edwards is a guy who could take that leap. And if he has a great year like this, and then we have J.K. Dobbins next year, if he does have that huge year, we may have to part ways with him. So I think he has a lot to play for. So I could see him doing that.
I have a couple, man, and I'm partial to some rookies and some people in some new situations. Obviously, this is a little biased, but I think Jonnu Smith for the Patriots is going to have a massive year. The Patriots use tight ends so unbelievably well, but we haven't had a good one on our roster in years. So the fact that we have Jonnu and Hunter Henry, I think Jonnu is going to absolutely thrive in the middle of the field. I think he's going to have a great year. John Marchetti is going to be very pumped in our league that he has him, man. I think that Jamar Chase in Cincinnati, the rookie, he's going to be the number one. I think that he over T. Higgins. I think that Joe Burrow and him have that connection already playing together at LSU. I think you're going to see like the new AJ Green. Like AJ Green was just there for 8-9 years on a bad team. I think that's what you're going to see from Jamar Chase. I think this guy's going to dominate for years to come. He'll have the stats, may not have the wins, but that's all right. It doesn't always have to be about these wins. This man's still going to get paid pretty well.
And the Bengals could get there. I have more hope for them now than I ever did with Dalton at the helm. Like even when Dalton was decent and they were making playoffs, before they had the record of like losing all their playoff games. But I think there's potential there.
And another one, man, I think Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray takes another step. This guy is steadily improved every year. He's small, he's slight, but he's so unbelievably fast. He can move so well, and they added more pieces on that offense. Though I didn't pick them to win in week 1, I think Kyler Murray is going to have an outstanding year. Outstanding. I think he's going to be great.
I like that too.
Give me Keenan Allen too. This guy's an all-pro level player, but man, I think that he's going to be in that top 3-4 wide receiver conversation after this year rather than that top 10. I think Herbert's
so maybe not shock, but surprise.
Domination now. Now, Pat, moving on, Jimmy McQuaid. Now, he framed this in a couple ways, but I had to put this question together, man. How hilarious would it be if the NBA had no refs and players had to make their own calls, man? You had to call your own fouls. Who would thrive and who just would have absolutely no idea what to do?
It would devolve into like street ball. You would see guys like brawling on the court. You would see, all the guys, like I remember, what was it? There was one guy in the NBA who used to play. His name was Skip to My Lou was his name in street ball, and then he came to the NBA and he did that move one game. I remember he did like his signature move. It's guys like that, and I think you would see more personalities like that. So I'm trying to think of like a street ball mentality. Like Jimmy Butler would probably do well. He would thrive. But then you have the softer spoken guys. Like I think Karl Anthony Towns would not do so well. I feel like I never hear from him. Guys like that. I'm trying to think of another one who's like very quiet.
LeBron. LeBron it would be so hard.
It would be
him,
tough.
Man.
Yeah, people who complain too. Yeah,
Floppers.
LeBron would have a tough time.
Kyle Lowry.
Anytime, anytime James Harden drove to the basket, you would just have guys doing like the travel. They would do travel, or they'd have double dribble hand motions. It would be absolute chaos.
My first thought was LeBron and James Harden would have a very hard time, but I think Karl Anthony Towns is a great pick. Now, a guy that I think would absolutely thrive would be Kawhi Leonard, because I think that Kawhi clamps people, but also he would call fouls and he would just stay silent. People would be screaming, "That's not a foul, blah, blah," all this stuff. And he wouldn't say a word back to them. He would just walk up to the free throw line, take his free throws, man. So I think Kawhi would be doing all right. That quiet, humble man right there. And music video star Kawhi Leonard on the Drake music video on his new album.
Yeah, I saw that. That was very strange seeing Kawhi in that situation.
I agree, man. I agree. Now, Joe Braverman, most underrated, underappreciated athlete of all time. Now, not underrated, underappreciated, and It sounds funny, man. I thought about Tim Duncan right away because of that soft-spoken mentality, but Tim Duncan has multiple MVPs. Tim Duncan has 5 championships. He should be in that all-time great conversation. People don't often put him in a top 10 category. I think he had a better career than Kobe Bryant. I think he had a better career than Shaquille O'Neal, than Hakeem Olajuwon. I think Tim Duncan is super underappreciated just because he didn't have that boisterous personality, man. I thought about him right away when I read this question.
Yeah, thinking about that team too, I think about, I mean, they were also quiet. I think about Manu Ginobili. I think about Joe Johnson. He was the quietest superstar in the league. Think about those guys. And if I'm thinking about like a championship run, I think about maybe Rondo and the Celtics, because everyone talks about the big three, but no one mentions, a big four, where Rondo was a huge part of that and a huge facilitator. And he was there with Pierce before we even got Allen and Garnett. So I would say, if we're talking runs, Rondo, that would be a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at specific years like that, man, there's always those guys that just put it all out on the floor and don't get the credit that they deserve now. Pat, man, we got this question. We have no right to answer this, man. But Jenna Ekstrom puts this one in. She asked, "What about diets for athletes?" She said, "Interested in like what diets you think are beneficial or harmful, and use keto as an example." For me, we obviously have no right to speak on this, Pat, but I think whatever works for the athlete. But I will say, man, going keto, going, with some of these weird diets. I read this book called Diet Cults. It disproved every major diet, man. Keto, pescatarian, none of them are right. There's no one correct diet for anyone, man. You have to do what works for you. There's different food around the world, man. You have to do what works for you. That's all it is.
What about like Rogan's carnivore diet, just eating meat for a month straight, just only meat?
Yeah, I mean, hey, if it works for you, there's people that do it, man, but not quite for me. You look at Chris Paul, who extends his career by going vegan. There's just different things that work for different people, and I think you got to listen to your body and find what works for you, man. That's all I have to say on it.
I agree.
None of these specific diets are ever going to be universal, man. All right. Carter Wood, always asking those thought-provoking questions, man. This man has to make us think. Where is all the golf talk? And will y'all cover the men's Paralympic gold medal golf game? Pat, I don't know if we're going to cover this, but we might have to next week just for Carter, man. I don't know.
I didn't even know. So golf in the Olympics, is that what he's talking about?
It seems like it.
Yeah, I mean, clearly I don't know what it is, so probably won't be following it, unfortunately. I mean, we talk a lot of sports on the show. I can't follow all of them, especially, minimal time during the day. So I tell you what, I was saying this, I was telling you this before. I did watch, what was it? It was a wheelchair basketball game. And then I watched sitting volleyball, which was on. And I was telling you, I will say I don't have an opinion on it, but it was easier for me to watch the Paralympic games than any of the Olympic games. Like I couldn't find like any Olympic games on unless I really, really tried, and they started really late. But first time I tried, I saw, the sitting volleyball gold medal game. So that was fun.
I'm all for it, man. And hey, maybe we'll drop it during headlines next week just for Carter, man. And rounding out listener questions, man. Brett drops this one in: mammoth versus elephant, Pat. And I got to tell you, I just have this vision in my mind for movies like 10,000 BC that mammoths are way bigger than elephants. And I know elephants are huge, but I feel like if we're going prehistoric version of an animal versus current version of an animal, I got to rock with the prehistoric, man. I'm rocking mammoth all day here.
Yeah, I don't know what an elephant can do, but I know mammoths have tusks, and that alone, I mean, well, certain elephants do have tusks, so I guess that depends. Like they could be in a war with their tusks. For some reason, it just came to mind like no tusks, so I was thinking, mammoth just wins easy that way. But it's gonna be a close. It's gonna be a close matchup. Maybe I think I might agree with you. Prehistoric, they might be a little more savage. I think they might be a little more down to fight and scrap. So I'll go with the mammoth too.
I like it there, man. I like it. We're rocking double mammoth picks here. So, Pat, before we get on to what we've learned, as always, man, quick ad from Book Thinkers. So if you read personal development books, you got to check out Book Thinkers. This company is dedicated to helping you fulfill your life through books, man. And every day on Instagram, every week on their podcast, this team over at Book Thinkers is helping you discover new books and new mentors that you can use to achieve more and live better. Please go over to Instagram, type in Book Thinkers, go to bookthinkers.com, learn more about this team, learn more about this message, and find that book that can change your life if you read at the right time. Now, Pat, what did we learn this week when it comes to the world of sports?
I know, and you helped me think of this beforehand, and I was happy about it because I watched the fights this weekend. They were at an odd time, but if anyone watches the UFC, Paddy Pimblett, I mean, he might be the next superstar of the UFC. This guy with his Instagram account, I think before like he won his fight on Saturday, he had thousands of followers, but then I think by the end of it, but after the fight, he had like in the 200,000s. And I
Wow.
forgot, I wish I could reference, he had more followers already than like an entire sports account. And I'm trying to remember which one it is, and I'm failing for not remembering. But I mean, the guy already has the social media following after just one UFC fight. He had this storied career in Cage Warriors, which is a big European. It's one of the biggest, fight promotions in the entire world. It's over in Europe. A lot of the Cage Warriors guys end up coming to the UFC. There's another guy, champion over there, Ian Gary, who's coming over. So, I mean, these British, these Irish guys, they come over and they're exciting. And Paddy Pimblett's got personality. He turned down the UFC twice, actually. They offered him to come over twice, and he said he wasn't ready yet over the years. And then finally, on this chance, he took it, and he said he was ready. Came over, said he was a proper lightweight, and he ended up winning. He in emphatic fashion too. He got the knockout.
Yeah, man.
He's got the personality. So I'm on the Paddy Pimblett train.
Yeah, man. And I was saying it to you. I think that this guy is the next great trash talker in the UFC because, dude, there's something about that Irish, English, like Eastern European accent that just sounds so good when you're talking trash. This guy may replace McGregor as that trash talker, man. He quoted my Liverpool fan, James Redmond, man. It ain't no ifs, ands, and buts. I do absolutes, man. Like, it was just perfect, dude.
And his name is Patrick, so he's got my name, but his nickname is he goes by Patty, but his nickname is Patty the Batty, which is just awesome. I mean, he's got everything. So I'm loving this guy.
Do yourself a favor and type in Patty the Batty knockout, man. Watch that first one, man, because
just look up a picture of him because you'll enjoy his haircut too.
Man, ooh, that is quite the haircut, man. But I can't say it. I've had some bad haircuts in the past, man.
Oh, same. I've had terrible ones. Oh, there's some specific ones that come to mind. I actually had hair like Paddy Pimblett at one point. I'll have to show you those. Circa fourth grade.
Might have to be the thumbnail on this episode. I don't know, but
that would be funny. That would be great.
Pat, man, what I learned this week was about an NFL football player, Washington football team. His name is Troy Apke. Troy is the first white cornerback to be in the NFL since 2002. There has not been a white player to make an NFL roster at the position of cornerback in 19 years, which I just couldn't believe, man. It's just so funny. It's one of those crazy things. Like 20 years passed. Like we got safeties, we got line, but we got every other position on the field. But not cornerbacks, man. It's just so funny to me. I could think about a white player at every position, but I can't think of one at corner because
it's kind of shocking.
20 years.
Yeah, I never thought about that until I saw that too, and I was like, wow, really? I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I feel like that totally could have happened by now. It's kind of shocking.
Yeah, you got a bunch at safety, man. You think Sorensen, man. You think Harrison Smith. Like, you got players at every position, but not corner. That's just what I learned this week, man. One of the weirdest droughts in NFL history, I guess, because 20 years, man, that is wild. That's wild.
Yeah, absolutely. It is wild.
Oh, man, funny way to end the show talking about Patty and Troy here, man. But that is episode number 37 of Right Off the Bus. It's the NFL opening day special. We're just going to say that as why it dropped on Thursday, Pat. We'll use that as an excuse, man. But man, it's been another fun one, man. And as always, we appreciate any interaction you can do with this podcast. So please like this podcast, comment on posts, subscribe on any platform that you can, leave us a nice comment, leave us a nice review. And man, please just share this podcast with one sports fan that's not listening to a good sports podcast or needs a better one in their rotation. We appreciate anyone giving us any love, and we do not take your time and your attention for granted. So thank you for listening, Pat. Anything else for episode 37 before we wrap up, man?
I think that's all. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you. That's episode 37. Peace out.
You are listening to Right Off the Bus.